Okay, now we had Kayakalp initiative, which have been extended to the private sector facility through Quality Council of India, and he will assess the number of hospitals. Like he had conducted 653 private hospital into 2 month span, and this is how the things were going on. Now, Ministry of House and Family Welfare also added platform for the village health sanitation under the National Health Mission, and we are trying to from the ASA workers we are trying to mobilize the community for the construction and use of toilets. We had aiming at open defecation free system at block level, so which we have also trying to sensitize about. Then we had also Swachh Bharat Abhiyan, which is resulting into saving 3 lakhs death due to diarrhea and malnutrition. And then we had also these things have been showing the results. And this initiative has also created a ripple effect in the improvement of public health sector. And because of the collaborative effort of all states, and this is not only the hygiene habit that led to the positive health outcome and reduction in the hospital acquired infection. Also, it had led to the reduction in use of antibiotic use. The particular having mentioned about the hospital acquired infection, it is one of the important thing that India had to notice because it is increasing day by day. Particularly, the government hospitals are full of crowds without any safety measures. So it is showing the result that Kayakalp initiative is one of the good initiative, and this is what the article says. Now we are moving to the next articles, that is sustainable sanitation in the city, and we had focus on creating the sustainable infrastructure and their system, their process, which had been the hallmark of the government of India approach. Now we have enabled the Swachhta, institutionalizing things in the original life, and the mission implementation had a third party verification also. So we are going to all these things, and private sector participation is also praised in this article to achieve the momentum which we had generated. Now we had urban sanitization condition in India. This says that the census 2011 revealed that 12.6% of urban people used open defecation, while the 68% people in the rural India used open defecation system. And but though the urban sanitation had been lower than the rural sanitation, open defecation, but it is impacting the adversely impacting the health of urban citizens together. And it says that there are septic tank coverage for 33%, while 70% of the toilet discharge is disposed of in unsafe manner. This is going to affect the associated ecosystem. Like this says that a bigger cause of worry is that 75% of freshwater resource used for drinking purpose was contaminated with the sewage, contributing to the total population load. And this has been because from the report of CBCB report 2009, and you can put all these authoritative data in any of the essay or in answer writing. Now we can have the cost of poor sanitation, that the sustainable development goal, which places significant emphasis on sanitation, cleanliness, and hygiene. And there is significant evidence globally that the better sanitation or hygiene and cleanliness helps in effective control of vector-borne disease. So if one side the peoples are hygienic, then it will reduce the burden to the government. It will also reduce the some amount of vector-borne disease. And since we know that a human resource is those who could use their optimum level, and one can use optimum level only when he is healthy, so it will also increase the human resource capacity. So that is why the things were. Now it says that as per UNICEF report 2011, almost 90% of the child death from the diarrheal disease are directly linked to the contaminated water, lack of sanitation, and inadequate hygiene. So it's a very big data. The UNICEF is saying that child deaths are due to the contaminated water. So one has to be very careful about, because they are the uh, future generation of the country. If they had any disease, then it will definitely impact the human resource of the country. So this is what the things we need to be. Now, better sanitization will lead to reduction in the occurrence of low birth weight babies, a spontaneous abortion, and occurrence of birth defect. So it had a multi benefit, and it had proved that improvement in the sanitation and better hygiene result in the better health outcomes. So this is what the article mentioned. Now we had, as per the India Health Report for Nutrition Security in India, the northeastern state Mizoram had reported a 13% decline in the stunning. So it's a very good improvement in the public health at large, and this is about the normal height of the age, and for the age and 5 percentage point decline in the underweight children. So it's a very good achievement from the health and sanitation facilities. So improved sanitation has been impacted not only the health but also on the social and economic development. So this is what the things were, because as I mentioned earlier that the China is facing a tourism crisis because of sanitation facilities. So India is taking the initiative. It is a very good one, and it is a proactive initiative. So we had journey to the sustainable urban sanitation, that on the 2nd of October 2019, urban India became open defecation free, and it's a tribute to the Mahatma Gandhi on its 115th birthday. And this is a historical achievement which have been in the span of 5 years, and it's a remarkable achievement of the government and particularly developing country. Now, lakhs of citizens, especially women, have been provided dignity and safety, and significant reduction in the vector-borne disease, and with consequent improvement in the health parameters has been experienced. So, setting urban India on the path of holistic cleanliness. So, it's a very good achievement the government had, and now we has Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs, which has been implementing various missions under this. Like this is some some images which have been shown that 35 states become ODF in the urban areas, and 4,156 cities. Along with this is data. Along with this, 65 lakh 77,000 toilets have been constructed. So this is what the progress measure. Now we had also progress of urban sanitization is that they have been on the Google map, one can rate it out. And then we had public toilets on Google Maps which have been there. Now we had over the last 5 years, the urban sanitation initiative of the government have achieved impressive success, which we can see in this data. Now, Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs has also partnered with Google to upload and make available to Google Maps all the public and community toilets in the cities, so that citizens and visitors are able to easily locate these facilities. So this is how the things were. A graded approach to a scaling of the sustaining urban environment, that we had ODF status for the cities, and it could sustain without slippage. So launch of ODF protocol had been there. So it's a first of its kind initiative where the independent third party would certify a city as ODF on satisfactorily complying with the protocol requirement. Okay, so this is what the things were. Now we had moreover, in order to prevent slippage of the ODF status, the ODF certificate was made valid for the 6th month only, and beyond which they had to be recertified by a third party. So they had to regular clean up, and they had to maintain this ODF status certificate. So it's a very good technique of the governance itself. So this is how the things were. Now we had various facilities that we have. Next logical step was to draw with the standard protocol of the ODF plus protocol for maintaining acceptable level of cleanliness of the community and public toilet, so they are functional, usable, and hygienic. So this is what the things concerned with. Now the ODF plus protocol was therefore launched, and again requirement for the third party verification is there. So this is ODF, and there had to be some criteria which is required to be fulfilled. Now this is from a necessary condition for ODF, like toilets construction on every houses with the space, along with community toilet within 500 meters, public toilets within the 1 kilometers, along with all toilets connected with either sewer network. Okay, scheduling mechanical dislodging by authorized operators and proper management of sewer network. So this is what the ODF plus plus scheme. This is ODF plus scheme, and this is about ODF scheme. So this is the things where also we had learned about ODF plus plus protocol, that is to address the issue of complete fecal sludge management involving scheduled emptying of the septic tank and safe contaminate and transportation of these things. So safe processing of the fecal sludge and septic is important, and we had to go for it. Now the city and state responded enthusiastically to these protocols, and our journey towards the sustainability had already begun on the promising notes. Like we had 739 which have been cities certified as ODF plus, and 292 cities had been certified as ODF plus plus. Under the Amrut mission 2, there are significant progress have been made in the fecal sludge management coverage. Now however, there was still some distance left to the traverse. Now, we had the household and black water, grey water from the household kitchen and toilet were following in the open drains. These were polluting the water bodies. So, given that water crisis the nation is facing, there was an additional burden on water resources we had. So, what we are doing, we are going to, given the capacity which constraint of the urban local bodies, multiple challenge to the sustainable development was there. So we are consciously looking at the graded approach to sustainability, and particularly improving the quality of water. So we had launched Swachh Survekshan, a tool for the mission monitoring of the governance. Swachh Survekshan is an initiative of the government conducted by Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs under Swachh Bharat Mission to rank the cities based on their sanitation and cleanliness parameters. And we have in the first round, which have been had happened in the 2016, we had 73 cities with the population of 10 lakh and above, and we had in 2017 it increased to 434 cities. So we had pan India sanitation survey, about 40 crore people have been taken part. So this is what the things is. We have online and paperless assessment of this. So this was started from the 2019, and this is what the things were. Now we had criteria for ODF plus plus. So this is what the things were. Now for the water, since there was water is something that is a challenge for us to have a sustainable water plus protocol to ensure that untreated wastewater is not released into environment or water bodies. So we had Swachh Sarvekshan initiative from 2016, 2017, 2018, and 2019, along with 2020. So this is what the things were. Now we have ODF, that is there. We have ODF plus, that is required for the sludge management. Then we had water plus, that's focusing on ensuring that no untreated wastewater discharge into the open environment. So SBM water plus is to have a that all the grey water, black water, and the toilet discharge should not flow directly to the fresh water system, because we had also facing water crisis of the same. So we have to be very careful about. This is one of the recently launched, and this is one of the greatest things we had. Now, addressing the challenge of the manual scavenging and hazardous entry. We had various law and regulatory reforms which had been enacted to ensure that the practice of the manual scavenging is eliminated comprehensively. Like, though the practice of manual entry into the sewer septic tank is allowed only under the various special circumstances, only with the proper protective equipments. So, because of lack of enforcement and inadequate infrastructure, this is leading to the fatal accidents. Sometimes people died in the septic tanks while cleaning, so it's a very severe matter. Now, Minister of Housing and Urban Affairs had constantly endeavoring to ensure that these hazardous cleaning of sewage and septic tank is completely eliminated, and even when the manual entry is unavoidable, to ensure that it is done with the proper safety precaution. This is what the things. Now, we had a very good initiative in this regard, and I will tell you that there is a development of robot which will clean the sewer automatically, so by using the by monitoring them. So this is what I will tell you, and this is what things were. Now, we had in this context, the Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs had strengthened their sustainable action plan, and this is what the things were. Now, we had emergency response sanitation unit in the major cities, which represents an innovative approach in institutionalizing the safety process and mitigating the measures to counter the manual scavenging. So this is what the things were. Now we have the other things like technology intensive behavior and change and capacity building of urban local bodies. Like, we have technology and a smart solution to the widened citizen outreach. Like Google mapping had been there. So this is how the things were, by taking assessment of the people from online. So this is what the things like, app should be developed to readdress the system and monitor. Now we had robust online portal for the real-time data capturing. Now we had Swatch Munch for the large scale citizen engagement. Now we had behavioral change engagement, like celebrities should do some amount of advertisement and sensitizing the people through the media and audio video campaigns. So this is how the things were. Now we have continuous capacity building of urban local bodies through dissemination of technical advisor and need of hand holding support, along with the classroom and visit based workshop. So a proper training and sensitizing of the people should be there, and capacity building should be there in order to implement and get the best result out of it. Now, what is the way forward for this? Now, urban India is now poised with the crucial juncture. While the sanitation situation in the cities and town has definitely improved, there is still a lot that remains to be done so that all cities become truly smart and livable. Now the things is very clear that the peoples have started using them instead of going out for defection. So the issue of maintenance of the public toilet needs to be strengthened further, because people had changed their behavior, but maintenance of the public toilet is required. Now, to ensure that the toilet do not fall into disuse, the issue of safe contamination, transportation, disposal of fecal sludge, and septage from the toilet are also required from the point of view of maintaining and to sustain it. So this is why they have launched ODF plus plus along with SDM water management technique. So we have this one. Now, for especially smaller cities where without sewer network, and about 60% of household of the country are dependent on site sanitation facility such as septic tank, and which is more often and not constructed without soak pits. So this is how the problems were in. Now, this implies that the health of uh, other beneficial impact of the holistic sanitization are not likely to be achieved in the cities despite being ODF. So, sometimes when they clean up these septic tanks, they discharge it without any proper care in unsafe manner. So, though they had septic tank, but they have been later discharged into the open, so it does not make any sense. And this is why this being ODF in the smaller cities, they are not able to reduce the impact on the health. So this is what the article mentioned. Now the achievement in the urban sanitation are still tenuous and likely to slip back if not sustained for the long term. So this is what the things were. Like they had certification for the 6 month itself. So we have very good initiative for the monitoring. Now citizens are now demanding the higher quality of services and a higher level of swachhta. So this is what the shows that they had a change in their behavior, their attitude. Now the various missions under the Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs have demonstrated a sustainable model of development in the urban sanitation. Now we have to go forward and institutionalize the concept of Swachhta in every holistic impact and their safe sanitation in every sphere of life. Now also the ecosystem around the sanitation will have to be strengthened further to cement the sustainability for the outcome. We had sustainable sanitation ODF++ in the cities. Now we had water treatment plants. So water wastewater treatment as per the Water Plus protocol. So all the above will need to be planned and implemented under the overarching principle of Swachhta Se Hi Sampannata. So this is what the government is planning to do. Like Swachhta Se Sampannata had been a campaign by the government, like sustainable sanitation, which is the complete fecal management, preventing hazardous manual entry to the sewerage. Along with we had facility for the safe contaminated disposal of all fecal sludge, that is creating of ODF++ cities, along with adequate number of dislodging the vehicle. And then we had protective gear to be produced. We had mechanical equipment for the sewer prep clean. Then we had setting of emergency room for the sanitation unit. Now we had wastewater treatment, like treatment and reuse of water, wastewater. Then we had treatment of all water before discharging into the body. So maximum possible reuse. Now we will need to think about out of the box and come up with the even more innovative and smart techniques approach, such as incentivizing the cities through the result based funding, like someone who get some amount of incentive in the sense of optimizing their result. Like if they got some amount of certification, they should be given some amount of funding. And this is how the things were going on. Now, strengthening the digital enablement of the mission governance, setting of National Institute of Excellence to address all the issue of in the solid and liquid waste management, and in line with the other international and national institutions, so it will help them. Now, in the conclusion, they had added that progress in urban sanitation had already started impacting the life and large environment positively. So we are moving toward the Swachh, Swasth, Samarth and Sasakt New India. And this has been the title, and we will achieve it if the governance and the things going very good, since the policy is very good. So if they implement it very well, then definitely we will achieve these targets. Now moving to the next one, we have focused on water management, building a resilient nation. Like, well, the country had been declared to be free from the practice of open defecation, it is the pertinent to continue looking at necessity of the fecal sludge and septic management, which have been affected the quality and safety of drinking water negatively. Like life in the world is very is diverse and unique to all. Common thing is that we live and breathe on the same world, and we use together all the resources. Like our collective action impact the environment which we share, and when we contribute negative towards the climate, then there are some effect on the another side also. So we had due to the climate changes, we had seen that the weather pattern is changing, lower quality of environmental concern, which had resulted in impacting the human life and socioeconomic cost to the human society also. So India had according to the an assessment that India had lost average 170 billion annually over a 10-year period due to the weather and environmental related cause. Now we had in a drastic environmental shift. There is variability in the rainfall in certain region of India, and we had contributed more and more to drought-prone conditions. So this is what the article mentioned. This has increased the vulnerability of the community dependent on agriculture and demands on the local water resource, leading to resource management and geological stress. Subsequently, the water is contaminated because of overexploitation of the water. Now we had situation is compounded when the communities lack necessary knowledge and infrastructure. So UNICEF is a key technical partner to the government of India on the water and sanitation program, and this is supporting the nation's progress. So it is working with everyone from the government to the local body, and it's a very good thing for the governance that it is not from the only center that can do the things um, alone. So it has been working with the all level of government, that is three level of the government, that is federal structure we had. So it will be a successful program. So this what these programs are, we will take a look of it, like environment and the community, environment and the governance, then we have environment and intersectionality. Now we have in the section 1, that is environment and community, like how Maharashtra is investing in women leadership for sustainable development in the water stress area. Like Maharashtra has declared drought in the 3 of the past 5 years. Okay, so about 70% of the state geographical area lies in the semi-arid region, and they are vulnerable to the water scarcity, and this had been exacerbated by further droughts. So this had impacted the life of the people over the wide years. From year to year, there had been the fluctuation in the agriculture production income. So this is what the Maharashtra government realized, and with support of a state disaster management, UNICEF Maharashtra Relief and Rehabilitation Department 2015 and 16 take a measure that it was found that almost half of the village had only one source of water for drinking and other domestic purpose, and 27% of farmers did not have any water management technique, and that during the lean period of year 84% of the family faced irrigation challenges. So there was no any drinking water, along with they do not have any irrigation facility. So the life of the daily people and the agricultural productivity is going to impact. Now women were disproportionately affected by the water scarcity, and this has rippled the burden of women and girls in terms of household tasks. They had to travel and for the water, for a distance, for the fuel fodder. So it's a worsen their sanitation and hygiene also. So overall, the lack of community level management which had put the challenge. So what they did, they made an address to the mitigation of this issue, that women-led water sanitation and hygiene resilient practice project, WSHARP. Now they had been implemented it in 2018 to test the effectiveness and risk informed in this planning. Now this is a pilot program which sought to enhance water, livelihood, food security across the 100 village. Okay, so WSAP had targeted women and vulnerable families as a core of the project. The project took the innovative approach of positioning women as a key change of agent who charged forward in mobilizing their community, local body, and the government. So how WSOP work? This is saying about that every village which are vulnerable, that is most stranded village, they includes the home of marginal farmer household headed by women and landless labor, and there had been attention to the adolescent girl and children below 5 years of age, and the project integrated with the question of sustainability and gender empowerment. So, in various approaches, so the women community leaders like Arogya Sakhi, health friend, were selected and trained by the UNICEF for the implementation to promote hygiene, water security. So, this is the things that they they try to raise the awareness and knowledge in their community, and one of the key outcome of this project was to encourage the community to participation in local governance and foster partnership with the relevant government and civil societies, and they allowed exchange and dialogue. Okay, forum. Now training had been organized for the community leaders, like we had Arogya Sakhis in this case, and they had been uniformly last mile connectivity was achieved through these community leaders, and they made a behavioral change and awareness in the peoples. Now we had increased the service provider and their coverage through a 7-star tools such as ASA, Anganbadi, and all the other things. Like the effectiveness of those efforts increased awareness and implementation of water conservation practice and sustainable management. So what they did, they selected the community leaders, they trained them about the effectiveness of the um, water conservation practice and sustainable management. So, and also they involved ASA and Anganwadi workers along with the people. To they try to exchange their view on a different forum, exchange with the civil society along with the government too. So these were some initiative they take. Now we had key intervention, that household label management. Like the Arogya Sakhi mobilized women groups in the village to discuss the information and practice relevant to the good water management practice at the house level. Okay, so this will practice after this practicing the reusing of the wastewater is very much there. And now we had water budgeting, involves the understanding of the household overall water requirement based on the number of family members, and the effective tools that allowed the household to concentrately appreciate the utilization of the resources. Now we had all public water sources should be included in sanitation surveillance plan. Now we had 1392 soak pits were constructed by village to village to capture the grey water for the reuse. Now they had constructed 28 village hand washing station along the school and two blocks. Now we had community level engagement. So these community level engagement includes in discussion of climate resilient practice. Okay, so they had shift about to the biofertilizers, improving the soil health, biodiversity conservation, water efficient technology. Community leaders and 2000 women farmers were trained on the resilient. Then we had also then we have vermicompost bed were installed. Then we had women farming are presently practicing mixed crop farming. Then we have family cultivating less water intensive fodder. So they had cultivated kitchen garden for themselves to encourage nutritious rich diet, and this is what the community level support. Now we had community snapshot that 80 families in one village had accumulated 2000 and created a shared borewell, and 4 containers of drinking water were allocated per family with minimal per cost liter. Okay, so this is what the 100 of women had participated in the digging of 12,000 square meter trench, and they were connected village area farms to increase water storage and groundwater recharging. Now we had convergent governance. A unique aspect of this project was that use of national flagship program to empower the community, like construction of soak pits, okay, and toilets, adaptation of new agricultural innovation, okay. Then they have been made aware of Swachh Bharat mission, Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Yojana, Atma, that is agriculture, technology, and management, which jointly provide access to the 6 crore 35 lakh. So this is what they gone through, and we had 100 resilient village and 100 step towards sustainability. So WSART was designed in alignment with the Swachh Bharat mission under the Angel Shakti Abhiyan, and both were supporting this project. And government will continue to observe the progress and monitor the things on the scale for the best of the region. Now we had the WSART aim to sustain a gender responsive and resilient community with food and water security in drought-prone area. Now, many of the accepted interventions have been introduced through the women that were change maker, and women who are in the forefront of the facing climate variability in their daily life. So this is what an experience of the UNICEF in Maharashtra. The thing is, this is not required just for this is not something that we should uh, avoid, because this will tell us this like this article, this will tell us how the governance will work, how the implementation will work. So if there is any innovative questions, any imaginative questions, particularly in ethical in the question of ethics, then we can do something creative like from this, that if there is any problem of dot prone area, how we are going to solve it. If we look at something like this, we can use some imaginative activities from these things, like promoting the gender responsiveness by WSARC, which we can put this initiative, which will definitely a good initiative, which will fetch marks for us. Now we had environment and governance, the success story of fluorosis management in Rajasthan. Like the state of Rajasthan makes the classic case of socio-cultural and environmental implications, like sourcing of safe drinking in the semi-arid and water-scarce region. The state population is heavily dependent on the groundwater for its agriculture and drinking requirements. And due to the absence of perennial river, inadequate surface source, and arid climate condition, so this is what the condition were. Now in the remote area, there is a translation of the digging through the groundwater for groundwater source, creating numerous tube well and ham pump, especially in the remote areas of the state. This have been done. This led to the over exploitation of the groundwater, which has increased due to recent climate changes. And we had seen the reoccurrence of drought, leaching of rock with the fluoride compound. So this is a volatile element into the water sources, making it unsafe for the drinking. Now, drinking water, according to the WHO, had prescribed a limit that there should be 1.5 ppm of fluoride, which can be dangerous if they have been persistently used. Now, dental, skeletal, non-skeletal fluorosis had been rising in the severity in succession in that area. Now, this is what required the achieving the Sustainable Development Goal 6 target would require addressing all environmental health fallout, such as this has to be prioritized by the government and solved urgently. Now, despite the different mitigation initiative with huge financial implication, people in affected area are still at risk, because the effort were usually limited to the defluoridation of the water without any consideration for the related aspect. So we need to have some mitigation approach need to be a start with a better understanding of the health impacts of excessive fluoride intake. Now, the current government initiative is that taking past lesson into the account and implementing a comprehensive multi-sectoral approach through integrating fluorosis management. And they had initially by NERI, that is National Environmental Engineering Research Institute, and UNICEF in Madhya Pradesh in 2007, and they have been replicated in the state of Rajasthan also. Subsequently, the history of mitigation effort, since there was excess of fluoride in the drinking water in 2001, sorry. And then we had Rajasthan, which had adopted the integrated fluorosis management program in 2004, and there had been some phases where domestic defluoridation unit had been based on the absorption technology, were distributed through NGO, and they were supposed to educate people and train them in using the DDFU, that is the domestic defluoridation units. And despite high resources investment, they could not bring about the desired result and desired success, except they had increased the awareness in almost all the rural area of Rajasthan. Now the government has learned the phase 3, where the hand pumps and tube well attached with the large size defloration unit have been installed through the private agencies, and they would operate and maintain the unit for 10 years. And they had educated people about the danger which involved in the high fluoride drinking water. And under the support of National Rural Drinking Water Program, the groundwater recharge initiative were also taken up a big way for alternative drinking water sources. So the rainwater is also used, which had gained popularity in the most of the district. So this is what the changes were. And in this vision, the government of Rajasthan has aimed to cover the entire state through surface water, but the treatment of groundwater is likely to continue. So this is what they ensure, and this is how they achieve the Sustainable Development Goal 6, which led to the mitigation of all the diseases which have been born out of environmental impact. Now there are some there are challenges which have continued, that the fluorosis had been quite complex and they had affected the more and more life with the time. Now we had people had shifted to the traditional wisdom of source, that is pipe water supply, and they had to take care of water security because it is important things for the life. To then we had and there are identification of safe and reliable source of water, and they will supply to the all channel through the pipe. Now the present practice of indiscriminate supply of defluoride water to the community living in an endemic area may not relieve those who are affected with the fluorides already, as fluoride entry in the body is maybe much more from the source than other drinking water. Okay, so the improvement in drinking water supply in the endemic village of Rajasthan has decreased the burden of fluorosis. Improvement in drinking water supply in the endemic village of Rajasthan has declared the burden of fluorosis, but low level of awareness prevailing them and their dietary and behavioral practice still expose them to the high risk of fluoride intake. So there is a critical gap about the accountability of the dealing with the fluorosis, and there will we have to um, and there have to be some amount of effort by the government to the fluorosis affected people, so getting rid of their menace. Now what the way forward for this fluorosis management, that fluorosis cannot be mitigated by only providing the fluoride free water, but must be integrated into health and nutrition sensitiveness initiative of the public. Like departments in their plan should focus on the community participation and the climate resilient water safety and security as part of the effort. Now, the Rajasthan in the UNICEF, which UNICEF supported the government of Rajasthan in demonstration of integrated fluorosis management and mitigation approach in the Dungarpur. So the model had put the district magistrate in the leadership position that and leverage the existing influence and responsibility. Now the thing is that very good that they had implemented in a very good manner, and this had protected the environment identification and promotion of the reuse of the water, and along with the recharging aquifers and the sources for the creating a balance between the recharge of the water and needed. So it will also help in maintaining the quality of water in the source. Like a Jal Shakti Abhiyan is a great initiative by the government, which had shown the good intent by covering all the line departments in the common platform. Okay, so approach in water management. So these things are some that will be beneficial for the people. Like there are various department, and if there is some water management plan, so if there is some ministry like Jal Shakti ministry, then it will help all the mitigation effort to coordinate with all with that. So this is what the things. Now this is about the environment and introspectability, intersectionality, that is impact of water and sanitation policy on the environment health of India. Like we had provided with the safe drinking water as a part of environment health, which is realized as a critical to the health support. Now, the people get exposed to the fecal transmitted infection through the exposure to the fecal matters in their environment. So, this has also led to the diarrheal deaths in children, and also inadequate sanitation and unhygienic behavior had been there. So, in 2017, WHO estimated that 5,25,000 children have been died due to diarrheal disease globally, and out of this, 1,17,000 children died in the India itself. So it's a very big data, a very big number, and due to the environmental health, and there are only need of good investment in sustainable and effective sanitation with a safe water provision. So these were some things that was required. So the system for the solid and liquid waste management, including the fecal sludge management and drainage, are important for the better preservation, for better prevention of fecal contamination in the environment. So this is in line with SDG goal number 6, and we have to invest more on the framework for seeking to go beyond simply providing toilets and water supply. This is why we have ODF plus plus, and now we have water plus protocols also been there. Now we have policy on water supply and sanitation. Like 2019 had been a significant year for the rural water supply and sanitation movement. Like National Rural Sanitation Strategy, that is Post Swachh Bharat Mission, Jal Jeevan Mission, all things have been there that they had to get, water supply in the village through the pipelines. So this was the target they had. Now they had also investing in the waste management and the retrofitting since the launch of Swachh Bharat Mission in 2014. Over 10 crore toilets have been built in the rural area, and 5.9 many cities have been declared and many villages have been declared ODF, that is open defecation proof. But still there is need of effective solid and liquid waste disposal management. Like the type of toilet and construction of in the entire sanitation program is mainly focused on three categories, that is single leach pit, twin leach pit, and septic tanks. So single leach pit is need retrofitting, like either covering it into the twin pits with consideration of space. And we had human excreta over the time degrade completely and turn into solid pathogen free of manure for agriculture use, and making provision for the emptying the pit periodically. Now we had septic tank, where there are septic tank designed faultily, and they were used to holding tanks of the sewage, and the liquid waste of the household and the community, including the human excreta, were all connected to the open drains, agriculture field, and they have been all like kitchen waste have been flowed um, to the agriculture fields, and while the septic tank have been also overflowed, and uh, they have been passed to the fields also. So these had been some problems there, and this had led to the detrimental to the health. And as per the Indian standard, installation of septic tank, the unsatisfactorily designed construction and maintenance, and septic tanks constitute the health hazard. So this is what the things were. Now it is considered that essential to lay down a minimum standard guidance for the concerned authority. Like ODF plus initiative, both single leach pit toilet and septic tank would be challenging as far as fecal sludge and septic management is concerned. Like proper septic tanks offer preliminary treatment of sewage prior to the final disposal, which restrict the damaging the environment by protecting the water sources and the soil. So we need to have proper septic management, like the septic management in the smaller city. They when they get full, they were taken out and they have been spread out in the open field. This is nothing that this is just like open defecation. So it's creating an environmental and health challenge for the peoples. So we had Jal Jeevan Mission for the water supply, pipe water supply to all household, and it had been one of the greatest project for the rural India, and it had a rate of 55 liters per capita per day, and this had a target of setting of 100% coverage of the functional household tap connection, and we had standardizing the water quality testing and monitoring. The water quality testing is a tool that is universally used to identify the safe drinking water, uh, that is whether at a source, within pipe distribution system, or at a point when it is used by the consumer. So it's a program to monitor the things that whether they are giving the quality water or not. So this is what the things are. Now we had conclusion that the country has been declared free from the practice of open defecation, and the fecal sludge management had been the focus of the country, and we have also trying to address the drinking water which may affect negatively to the peoples. And overall, it is to ensure that success of various mission and catering the rural community, which requires some amount of governance, and the governance will include at the three level, at the gram panchayat level, and this will also require a firm vision of the leaders mm, who are leaders of society. So therefore it is important for the government at all level to work together, and which along with the local leaders and representative who will raise the awareness and become champion of the cause. So we need to synergize all the energy, and by reading these articles we can help out some imaginative activity, imaginative answer writing ability, and this is important for that scene. Along with, we can put the data and some amount of initiative like WSARP initiative which had been taken here. Now this is something that is required. So this is for chapter number for the article of the urban management. Now we will cover the role of community and radio in disaster management in the next one. So up to date, fine. Thank you. Have a good day.